Hey guys, it's Jade back with another video, and today we are looking into the skunk ape of Florida. And there have been a lot of sightings of the skunk ape, so this video is thankfully going to be much longer than the past few videos. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, the skunk ape originated from Palm Beach County, in Florida. That's where the most sightings have also occurred. And most people are skeptical that this creature ever existed. Sightings peaked in the 1970s as residential construction began, um, like, I guess, trespassing onto their habitats, and it drove them further and further into the Everglades. However, some of these sightings are very credible. The average skunk ape sighting describes them to have shaggy reddish to dark brown hair, and they stand approximately 7 feet tall and weigh in the vicinity of 400 to 500 pounds. Then there's the smell, which is where the skunk ape gets its name. It's described as a revolting mixture of wet dog, skunk, and rotting eggs. And it's reported to be a carnivore, and apparently it's also cannibalistic. The earliest report of a skunk ape, which this term was coined in the 1960s, was in I'm going to say this wrong, Suwannee County, east of Tallahassee in 1942, and a man said that one of the creatures hitched a ride on the running board of his car for nearly half a mile before jumping off and racing into the woods. In 1957, three hunters said that one of the creatures invaded their camp in the Big Cypress National Preserve east of Naples in the southwestern corner of the state. The distance between these two locations is about 400 miles. So obviously they do have a very big range of locations where they have been sighted. There have been multiple sightings in Palm Beach, Hernando, Pasco, Monroe, and Collier counties. In 1973, American cryptozoologist Loren Coleman suggested that the skunk ape should be added to the extinct genus, I guess. Dave Shealy first saw a skunk ape, I cannot say skunk ape for some reason, in 1973 when he was 9 years old, and a few years after his father discovered a huge set of footprints. He was deer hunting with his brother Jack in the Big Cypress National Reserve. There's been multiple sightings there, if you couldn't tell. He said, it was walking across the swamp and my brother spotted it first, but I couldn't see it over the grass. I wasn't tall enough. My brother picked me up and I saw it, about 100 yards away. It looked like a man, but completely covered in hair. Today, Shealy owns and operates the Skunk Ape Research Center in, Okeechobee, a small town which is adjacent to the Big Cypress National Preserve. He believes there are 7 to 9 of the creatures inhabiting the Everglades. Just after midnight on January 9th, 1974, Richard Lee Smith slammed his car into something near the intersection of U.S. Route 27 and Hollywood Boulevard on the eastern edge of the Everglades in Pembroke Pines. Smith told the Florida Highway Patrol that he initially thought he'd hit a tall man in dark clothing, but he was stunned when a 7 or 8 foot tall hairy creature lifted itself off the road, roared at him, charged at his car, and then took off. Smith gunned his engine and also took off because that's terrifying. Over the next few hours, drivers in the area reported seeing a limping giant walking along US 27. Officers were dispatched at 2:12 a.m., and a patrolman reported a huge hairy creature limping along the road a few miles from the accident scene before it disappeared into the brush. At dawn, police searched the swamp with 2 helicopters, but they failed to find anything. Vietnam War veteran and former police officer Charles Stokeman, his wife Leslie, and his 3 children lived on the ocean side near mile marker 94.5 on Key Largo. On July 14th, 1977, Stokeman and his 13-year-old son Charlie were collecting bottles in the thick red mangroves behind their home when they caught sight of an enormous 8 or 9 foot tall skunk ape. He says it had a huge head and shoulders, long fur all over, and it stank like a dirty, wet dog. The noise he made was a high-pitched wailing, so different from the roar that was heard in the last story. Stokeman cleared 30 feet of brush from around his home to discourage a return visit, but the overwhelming power of the stench that the skunk ape let off had persisted over several nights. Local law enforcement received a call about a massive creature crouched beneath the cover of a shed on the Stokeman property. Monroe County Sheriff Deputy Bill Hassey, um, Florida Main Patrol Captain Jill Gillen, and Sergeant Randall Chin from the Plantation Key substation started to investigate. Officer Chin said, "There's definitely a problem there. These people are truly scared to death." Mrs. Stokeman fled to Homestead with their 3 children after catching a glimpse of the creature 30 feet outside her bedroom window. Although no trace of the skunk ape was found, Charles Stokeman slept alone with his shotgun for almost a month before rejoining his family in Dade County. At 2 p.m. on Wednesday, July 16, 1997, Steve Goodbread, a guide for Pelican Tours, was driving a bus with 30 tourists along Turner River Road in Big Cypress, just outside of the O-Town, Okapi. He was stopped at a wooden bridge when he observed a large creature standing erect behind some brush approximately 70 yards away. It was about 7 feet tall with thick brown hair covering its entire body, and the creature was rocking back and forth, shaking the brushes, and appeared to be intimidated by their presence. Goodbread and his passengers observed what they believed to be a skunk ape for at least 15 minutes. He tried to persuade one tourist with a telephone lens on her camera to exit the bus and take photographs, but she refused. Obviously, I would refuse too. I don't want to get eaten. Are you kidding me? In retrospect, Goodbread said that it was probably a good idea that no one got off the bus. He drove away with the creature still in sight, even though Goodbread had always believed in the possibility that the skunk ape existed. He was shaken by the experience and refused to advertise or exploit the skunk ape with his tours. Less than a week later, at 7:45 a.m. on July 21st, 1997, real estate agent Jan Brock spotted a skunk ape, oh my gosh, cross in front of her while driving on Burns Road in Big Cypress. She described it as very shaggy looking, maybe 6.5 or 7 feet tall. 15 minutes after Jan Brook's encounter, Ochapee's fire chief Vince Dorr photographed the same skunk ape after it entered the forest near his home. At first, I thought it was a bear, but bears don't stay up on 2 legs the way this thing did, Dorr said. 20th century reports of the skunk ape in Palm Beach County are numerous. There's many, many reports from Palm Beach, as was stated in the beginning. Palm Beach County Sheriff Deputy Marvin Lewis insisted in 1980, he said he knew it exists, and his fellow deputy, Ernie Milner, shot a tall creature in 1974 west of Lantana that grunted and quickly disappeared into the swamp. In June 1974, Lake Worth farmer Buddy Sterrett said a skunk ape lifted one of his hogs that weighed over 100 pounds and ripped it into pieces. In September, Wellington security guard Kerry Cantor shot a skunk ape after it approached him from out of the woods and ignored his command to stop. The wounded creature ran back into the brush. It is interesting to note that in 1974, the Everglades was also experiencing a record drought and multiple wildfires. In 1977, 2 workers reported seeing a 7-foot-tall, hairy, ape-like creature sipping water from a lake on a golf course near Delray Beach and notified Palm Beach County Animal Control. Skunk ape sightings also persist into the 21st century. On December 29th, 2000, the Sarasota Sheriff's Department received an anonymous letter with 2 enclosed photos from a woman purporting to show what her husband believes was an escaped orangutan that had been stealing fruit from their back porch. She never mentioned anything about a skunk ape, but the photo clearly shows a large primate that is definitely not an orangutan. The letter began, "Enclosed, please find some pictures I took. My husband thinks it's an orangutan. Is someone missing an orangutan?" That's not a normal question that people ask. People don't just have orangutans. The woman wrote that for 2 nights it had taken apples her daughter brought down from up north off their back porch. The photos were taken on the 3rd night after she went outside to investigate a repetition of a deep whomp noises. She aimed her camera at something that moved in the darkness behind the saw palmetto bushes at the rear of their property. After quickly snapping 2 photos, each accompanied by a blinding flash, the creature retreated into the woods. The woman wrote that its awful smell lasted long after it left the area. She leashed their dog in the backyard, and it never returned after that. The woman signed off, "God bless. I prefer to remain anonymous." She wouldn't give her name, but wrote that the incident occurred on their property near I-75 east of Sarasota in an area that includes the Myamack River and the Myamack State Park. The creature has since become known as the Myakka skunk ape. Many researchers believe that the skunk apes are descendants of orangutans that escaped from traveling circuses that frequented Florida during the mid-20th century. While it is true that many sightings have described the creature as resembling an orangutan, the average orangutan only stands 4.5 feet tall and weighs less than 200 pounds. Many of the skunk apes have been reported to be at least 7 feet in height, and it would also not explain why a tall swamp creature known as the Esti Kapkaki has been seen by the Seminoles in the Everglades for 200 years. So, though that is going to be all for today, those were all of the sightings that were included in this article that I found. Personally, I think that a lot of those stories are, believable. Even, the law enforcement and a lot of police officers were saying that they believe that this creature's a real thing, and there's even that research facility that the one guy founded. So, I don't know, the skunk ape seems to be more believable than most of the creatures we've talked about so far. But, let me know in the comments if you're from Florida and you've seen or heard of the skunk ape. Tell me your stories in the comments section. I would love to hear them. Next week is going to be, Georgia with the, I'm gonna say this wrong, Altamaha. Please tell me in the comments section how to say that, because I don't know. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.